All right, listener, let's jump right in to this deep dive exploring Shanghai. You send us this, Exploring Shanghai, a comprehensive guide to the Pearl of the Orient, and it seems like you want to go beyond the typical tourist experience.
Definitely. You want to uncover what truly makes this city tick.
Yeah, and we're going to try to do exactly that. So to kick things off, Shanghai has transformed so much over the years.
It really has. From a humble fishing village to this global powerhouse.
Yeah. The guide mentions how Shanghai became like this major trading hub during the Qing dynasty and then just exploded onto the world stage during the 19th century.
What's so fascinating is that you can actually see this journey reflected in the city's architecture and culture.
Okay, so how so?
Well, think about it. Shanghai was kind of forced open to the world, which created this blend of Eastern and Western influences that you don't find in other Chinese cities. It's a unique fusion that's still evident today.
That makes sense. And speaking of things that are still evident today, the Bund is definitely a must-see, according to the guide. Those colonial-era buildings on one side and then the futuristic skyline on the other. It's like a visual representation of Shanghai's history.
It is. The Bund acts as a sort of timeline with those grand colonial buildings from the 19th and early 20th centuries on one side. Think Art Deco and neoclassical styles.
Yeah.
Ornate details, geometric patterns, all reflecting that era's grandeur.
See, those architectural terms always go a little over my head.
Well, you can picture it, though.
Right.
Yeah, I can picture it. It's like stepping back in time, and then you look across the Huangpu River, and it's like, bam! You're in the future.
Exactly. That's put on home to those iconic skyscrapers like the Oriental Pearl Tower and the Shanghai Tower. Those are powerful symbols of modern China's economic rise.
Okay, speaking of those modern giants, a revolving restaurant in the Pearl Tower, that's straight out of a movie.
It's an incredible experience, I bet. And the Shanghai Tower, being the second tallest in the world, that's got to be an insane view. Do you think you could see, like, the Great Wall of China from up there?
Probably not. The Great Wall is quite a distance away, but the view would still be breathtaking. You'd see the entire city, the Huangpu River winding through it, and the vast Yangtze River delta. It really gives you a sense of the scale of this region.
Wow. Okay, so we've got this historical grandeur and futuristic skyscrapers. But what about something a bit more down to earth? The guide also talks about Yew Garden, which sounds like a peaceful escape from the city's energy.
That contrast is a big part of what makes Shanghai so special. You can wander through the tranquility of Yew Garden with its classic pavilions, bonsai trees, serene ponds, and then jump right into the chaos of Nanjing Road, which is this massive shopping street that's a sensory overload.
Oh, wow. So you can go from Zen gardens to shopping frenzies all in one day.
Exactly. You get a bit of everything in Shanghai. It's about finding that balance.
I love that. And the guide also mentions Tianxifeng, which is described as this labyrinth of alleyways with art studios, boutiques, and cafes. It sounds like a completely different vibe than those main streets.
Tianxifeng is a gem. It's where you'll find local artists and that bohemian atmosphere. It's all about those unique hidden treasures you won't find anywhere else.
That sounds right up my alley, literally. Then there's the Jade Buddha Temple, a spiritual oasis in the middle of all the hustle and bustle.
Yes. And it's remarkable to think about the history of the temple.
Yeah.
Those jade statues were actually brought all the way from Burma centuries ago.
What? Really?
Yes. Imagine the journey those statues made. It really highlights Shanghai's long-standing connection to the wider world.
Wow, it's amazing to think about. So we've got this incredible blend of old and new, east and west, bustling streets and peaceful escapes, and we're just getting started with Shanghai.
There's so much more to uncover. It's a city that's constantly revealing new layers and perspectives.
Well, listener, buckle up because we're about to dive even deeper into the heart of Shanghai.
And that's what's so exciting about Shanghai. You can find those hidden gems, those unexpected moments that make a place truly come alive.
It's like you can create your own adventure every day.
Exactly. And the guide actually mentions one spot that sounds like the perfect escape from the city's intensity, Zhujiajiao.
This water town just outside of Shanghai.
Oh yeah, Zhujiajiao. It's like stepping back in time, right?
No.
The canals and ancient bridges and traditional houses.
Precisely. It offers a glimpse of what life in China was like before the rise of these megacities. A slower pace, a different rhythm.
It sounds so peaceful. A nice contrast to all that urban energy. But, we've talked a lot about the places to see. What about cultural experiences? Does Shanghai offer anything beyond, like, modern art and futuristic performances?
Oh, absolutely. Shanghai has a vibrant cultural scene that blends the traditional with the contemporary. For instance, the guide highlights the Shanghai Museum, which houses this incredible collection of Chinese art and artifacts spanning centuries.
So you can go from futuristic towers to ancient scrolls all in one day. Exactly. It's that blend that makes Shanghai so fascinating. And for performing arts enthusiasts, there's the Shanghai Grand Theater, which hosts world-class opera, ballet, and theater productions.
So basically, you can experience pretty much anything you can imagine in Shanghai. But let's be honest, all this talk about exploring is making me hungry. The guide's description of the food scene has me craving everything.
Shanghai is definitely a foodie's paradise. It's a city where you can indulge your senses and explore a whole world of flavors.
I'm ready to dive in, and I know we've got to talk about those xiaolongbao, the soup dumplings.
Ah, yes, the Xiaolongbao. They're a must-try. But have you ever heard of Shengjianbao?
Shengjianbao, I don't think so. Tell me more.
So they're kind of like Shanglongbao, but they're pan-fried. So you get this amazing crispy bottom, and they're filled with all sorts of savory goodness.
Okay, crispy bottom, savory goodness. I'm sold.
Yeah,
And of course, we can't forget about sweet and sour spare ribs, a classic.
absolutely.
Right.
A Shanghai staple.
Yeah.
But there's one more dish I have to mention that the guide highlights. It might sound a little intimidating, but trust me, it's worth trying. Hairy crab.
Hairy crab. Okay. I'm intrigued, but also a little scared.
What's the deal with hairy crab?
Don't worry, they're not actually hairy. They get their name from the bristly hairs on their claws. They're a seasonal delicacy only available in the autumn, and people rave about their rich, sweet flavor.
You've convinced me hairy crab, shengjianbao, sweet and sour spare ribs, and of course the xiaolongbao. It's official. I need a whole month just to eat my way through Shanghai.
You might need even longer. There's just so much to discover. And speaking of discovering, the guide mentions that FlightNHotels.com can actually help you find hotels near those famous food streets, so you can step right out your door and into the culinary action.
Now, that's what I'm talking about, combining practicality with amazing experiences.
Right.
This deep dive is basically building our dream Shanghai itinerary.
Planning a trip to Shanghai can feel a little overwhelming at first, but with the right resources and a little guidance, it can become an exciting adventure. Okay, I'm taking notes, but before I book my flights, I have a practical question. The guide mentions that Shanghai has hot summers and cold winters. So when's the best time to visit if you want to enjoy all these amazing things without melting or freezing?
That's a great question. The guide recommends visiting during spring from March to May, or autumn from September to November. The weather is milder during those months, which makes it perfect for exploring both outdoor and indoor attractions.
Spring or autumn? Got it. Listener, are you taking notes? This is gold. But you know, as we've been talking, I've realized that this guidebook has given us a fantastic overview, but it's only scratched the surface. There's so much more to discover, to experience firsthand.
That's the beauty of travel. It's about those personal connections, those unexpected moments that make a place truly come alive.
So I'm curious, listener, what aspects of Shanghai's culture would you be most drawn to? What resonates most with you?
Would it be the artistic energy of Tianzifang with its maze of alleyways and hidden galleries?
Or perhaps the stories whispered within the walls of the Jade Buddha Temple, that intersection of history and spirituality?
Maybe you'd find yourself lost in the bustling markets, haggling for souvenirs and sampling exotic street food.
Or seeking out those quiet corners of the city, those hidden gardens and tea houses where time seems to stand still.
The beauty of Shanghai is that it offers a multitude of experiences, each one a thread in the rich tapestry of this incredible city. It's up to you to choose your own adventure and discover what makes Shanghai unique to you.
This deep dive has been an incredible journey. And I don't know about you, listener, but I'm officially adding Shanghai to my travel bucket list. Until next time, keep exploring, keep discovering, and keep diving deep. So we've covered a ton about Shanghai, from those iconic landmarks to those hidden gems, the food, the culture. But what's the big takeaway here? What makes Shanghai stand out from other major cities around the world?
You know what strikes me? It's Shanghai's ability to embrace both its history and its future. It's a city that's constantly evolving, always pushing boundaries, but it never forgets where it came from.
It's not just about individual sites or experiences. It's about how it all comes together to create this dynamic energy, this feeling that anything is possible in Shanghai.
Exactly. Think about those contrasting images. The colonial-era buildings right next to futuristic skyscrapers, the peaceful gardens offering an escape from the bustling streets. It's that duality that's woven into the very fabric of Shanghai.
It's like the city itself is a living embodiment of yin and yang, constantly seeking that balance between tradition and modernity.
And that balance is what makes Shanghai so captivating, a city that embraces its contradictions and uses them to fuel its creativity and growth.
As we've been talking, I've realized that this guidebook has given us a great overview, but it's really just scratched the surface. There's so much more to discover, to experience firsthand.
Absolutely, and that's what I love about travel. It's not just about checking things off a list. It's about finding those personal connections, those unexpected moments that make a place truly come alive.
So I'm curious, listener, what aspects of Shanghai's culture would you be most drawn to? What resonates most with you?
Would it be the artistic energy of Tianzifang, with its maze of alleyways and hidden galleries? Or perhaps you'd be captivated by the stories whispered within the walls of the Jade Buddha Temple, where centuries of history and spirituality intersect.
Maybe you'd find yourself lost in those bustling markets, haggling for souvenirs and sampling all that incredible street food. Or maybe you'd seek out those quiet corners of the city, the hidden gardens and tea houses where time seems to stand still.
The beauty of Shanghai is that it offers a multitude of experiences, each one a thread in the rich tapestry of this incredible city.
It's up to you to choose your own adventure and discover what makes Shanghai unique to you. This deep dive has been an incredible journey, and I don't know about you, listener, but I'm adding Shanghai to my travel bucket list. Until next time, keep exploring, keep discovering, and keep diving deep.